Got another hoax on our hands, guys. We got another one. Yep. Once again, mainstream media and Democrats pulling another hoax against Uncle Trump. What do you know? Another day in the same old tired tricks. Goodness gracious. Anyway, let's dive in.
Yeah, I wonder why it's so difficult to understand a pretty simple concept. If Trump wants to deport illegal immigrants, he can do that, but he ought to do it legally. Do you think that that is a fair thing to say at this moment?
I do. I do think the media is pulling another, dictator for a day hoax right now, because it's clear when Trump said, I don't know, what he meant was what he finished his sentence saying, which is, I don't know where the Supreme Court is going to come down on whether deporting these illegal migrants is constitutional or not. It's very obvious, yet every single headline...
You just called it a hoax, so let's just play. Can we play it again in the control room, what Trump said in response to Kristen Walker? We're getting it up right now.
Can I make another
Don't you need
clip?
to uphold the Constitution of the United States as president?
I don't know. I have to respond by saying again, I have brilliant lawyers that work for me, and they are going to obviously follow what the Supreme Court said.
What's wrong with that?
So the Supreme Court is going to decide what is constitutional and what is not, and Trump just committed 100% to following what the Supreme Court says. I want to make one more very quick point.
There's another clip. Do we have the other one where he talks about whether citizens deserve due process? If we do, let's play that one.
Your Secretary of State says everyone who's here, citizens and non-citizens, deserve due process. Do you agree, Mr. President?
I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. I don't know.
Well, the Fifth Amendment says...
I don't know. It seems it might say that, but if you're talking about that, then we'd have to have 1 million or 2 million or 3 million trials.
So can I respond to that?
Yeah.
So what does it mean for an illegal immigrant to have due process? We would all agree that they do not have the same level of due process that we do. For example, we are entitled to a jury trial, and they are entitled to a hearing before an immigration judge. Do you know who the immigration judges work for? They work for the executive branch. They work for
what?
Which means that they work for Donald Trump.
You're actually making a great
of the due
point.
process that they get.
But Donald Trump doesn't even want to give him even that due process.
I
think that's part of the problem.
He said he is not sure the level to which they are entitled.
She didn't ask about what level of due process.
That's a very basic statement.
No, I mean, the reason I'm jumping in here is because she did not ask him, should they have a jury trial? Should they not have a jury trial? She just said whatever process they are entitled to. If they're immigrants and they're in an immigration proceeding, then yeah, you're absolutely right. It's a different type of proceeding. It's actually more of an administrative proceeding.
It's a much lower standard as well.
Even still, they are trying to circumvent that minimal amount of due process.
Then why is
and
it
the question is,
let me give you an
why?
example.
Why is because it's going to take way too long. And the fact that you all imported all of these folks illegally, and now you're looking at us to deport them legally, I don't like that. Listen, and maybe I would get in trouble for it. I don't know, right? I'm no legal scholar. But if I'm Trump, bro, F what y'all got to say. Judges, I got voted in to do this job. My approval rating on this job is still above water. So clearly most Americans approve of what I'm doing. So I'm deporting all these folks. Every single one of them. Every single one of them. If you are here illegally, you're getting deported. Full stop. If you want them back here, go get them. Go get them yourself. Am I wrong for that? Y'all let me know. Because I just think this whole argument is just getting absolutely ridiculous. They imported these people illegally. Just opened the border, just allowed anybody and everybody to come in. But now to get them out, now we have to legally deport them and go through this long process that the clock will run out on because Trump only has 4 years. Really? I don't know. To me, that just doesn't make sense. Now, legally, I don't know. Maybe it is. Maybe it isn't illegal. I don't know. Like I said, I'm not a legal scholar, but if I'm in Trump's shoes and maybe he's getting some information behind the scenes that, he can't do what I'm saying I would do. But me, hey, full stop. Everybody getting on this plane. Y'all all going back to your home countries. Simple. Bye. If you want to come back, you come back legally. Simple. Matter of fact, just to make Democrats really angry, I will permanently ban all of these folks from returning to America. I'm deporting all of them, and I'm permanently banning them. That'll really piss off the Democrats. Because now, if a Democrat were to win again, which I don't think they will, but if they were to win again anytime soon, they can't just re-import the same people, because then we'll just be like, well, you know, legal process, remember, legal process. You can't legally. Now, of course, Democrats would be like, well, no, that's illegal. We going to import them anyway, which is part of the reason why I say, man, just deport them. Because if the shoe were on the other foot, the Democrats would do it anyway. I mean, we watched Joe Biden defy the Supreme Court and still give out forgive student loan debt. Just saying.
Second thing, every illegal alien that came here, the first thing they did is they broke the law coming into our country. They broke the law. Let's level set here. That's what they did. So there is an orderly process that the president and his team is going through. They're not just rounding up people and dropping them out of the country. That is not true. Everybody that's been deported to this point has had a legal deportation order executed by the president's administration.
But in this case, in the case of Kilmer Abrego Garcia, the administration said it was an administrative error. And in 2019, an immigration judge issued an order that's still in effect that he should not be deported back to El Salvador. And
notice how they don't say that he shouldn't be deported. They all, whenever they talk about this Kilmer Abrego Garcia thing, they always say not deported till El Salvador. But they won't tell you is he did have deportation orders. It just, he could not be deported to El Salvador. We don't hate mainstream media enough. I'm telling you, and I'm gonna tell you again, we don't hate these folks enough. They play these games with words. You know, she won't tell you that he had deportation orders. All she'll say is he wasn't supposed to be deported to El Salvador, which is true. So she's technically not lying, but she's not telling you the whole truth. And so you got these folks on the left running around saying, oh, well, he was deported illegally. No, he wasn't. He got deported to the wrong place, according to a judge, but he wasn't deported illegally. He had deportation orders. We could have dropped him off in the middle of Africa for all I care.
And I guess this goes back to the question that I was asking to President Trump. Do you think that everyone, citizens and non-citizens, are entitled to due process?
Well, first and foremost, let me be clear with you. When it comes to due process, that is a privilege reserved for American citizens. When people are in our country illegally, there is a semblance of due process, but not nearly at the level of a United States citizen, of an American. There are two different standards. You come to America, you are a guest in the United States. That privilege can be revoked. And a lot of these illegal aliens were not guests. They showed up at the southern border. Joe Biden abused our laws, ignored our laws, and let them in.
And yet,
so what are the American people supposed to say about that?
Well, the Constitution, I mean, let me just read you. This is the Fifth Amendment. No person shall be held to answer for a capital or otherwise infamous crime unless a presentment or indictment of a grand jury, except in cases arising in the land or naval forces. And then it goes on to say, nor shall any person be subjected for the same offense to be twice put in jeopardy of life, limb, nor shall be compelled in any criminal case to be a witness against himself, nor be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. So the Constitution says any person, not citizen. And therein lies the debate and the root of my question. I mean, does any person just apply to citizens in your mind, or does it apply to citizens and non-citizens? The Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, says it applies to citizens and non-citizens.
Well, let's be very clear. First and foremost, when the framers wrote our Constitution, they never envisioned that there would be an executive that would allow millions of people to come into the country illegally. They never fathomed that. Number two, more importantly, you have a situation right now. Is it okay for any administration to not follow the law, abuse border security laws, let millions of people in, and then hide behind the court system to say, well, now they're here, so now we have to go through a lengthy process? Let's examine this right now. Right now, what we know is that when people came into the country illegally, almost 90% of them would not even go to the hearings. So if you're supposed to show up for a hearing and you do not go, what are we supposed to do as a country?
Very quickly, let me just interject, and we're running out of time, and I still have to get to the economy.
Sure.
To your point about the hearings, does Congress need to work harder to get more funding, to get more resources to the courts so that you can better process people who are here, who are undocumented?
In the one big beautiful bill, there will be dollars provided to the administration to speed up the deportation efforts. I will add that one of the things we have to be very sober about is that the gravity upon which all these people have been brought to our country, it is not physically possible to hire that many judges and process them out of the country. This is why you cannot have open borders to begin with.
Okay.
Man, I rock with Byron Donalds. He's always on point. But, you know, this whole thing has just gotten completely ridiculous. I mean, it really has, in my humble opinion. So you heard it from him. It's not possible to hire enough judges. Like that's just ridiculous. And we got to pay those judges. Those judges all got to get paid, right? Where do you think that money is going to come from? Okay. So you telling me that not only do we have to go through the legal process to get these people out when you didn't go through a legal process to bring them in, but on top of that, now we got to spend money to get them out too, on top of going through the legal process when you didn't have to bring them in. Like, no, F that. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. Call me a bad person, but that's ridiculous. In my humble opinion, you round all the illegals up and you send them back to where they came from and you ban them for life. Done. We're done with this, okay? Maybe I'm a bad person for that. Am I terrible? Y'all let me know. Am I bad for thinking that way? Better yet, here's a better question. If you were in Trump's shoes, what would you do? How would you handle this? Let me know. Thanks for tuning in as always. Peace and love. I'm out.